A starter motor is an electric motor that initiates the internal combustion engine by cranking the crankshaft until the engine achieves self-sustaining combustion. The basic working principle involves electromagnetic induction. When the ignition key is turned, it closes a circuit, sending electrical current from the battery through the starter solenoid. Key components include the armature and commutator for converting electrical energy to mechanical rotation, the solenoid as a relay, and the drive mechanism, like a Bendix drive. When you turn the ignition key, it closes an electrical circuit, sending current from the battery to the starter solenoid. This electromagnetic device engages a pinion gear with the engine's flywheel. The solenoid uses electromagnetic force to push the pinion gear forward, meshing it with the flywheel's teeth. This connection allows the starter motor to rotate the engine's crankshaft. The starter spins the flywheel at 100 to 250 revolutions per minute, providing enough momentum to begin the engine's four-stroke cycle of intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust. Once the engine achieves self-sustaining combustion, the starter automatically disengages. This prevents damage from continued high-speed rotation and allows the engine to run independently. The main components of a starter motor include the armature and commutator, which convert electrical energy into mechanical rotation. The solenoid acts as a relay for high currents and engages the drive gear. The drive mechanism, often a Bendix drive, ensures automatic engagement and disengagement with the flywheel. The most common starting problem is a dead battery, accounting for around 70% of all cases. When the battery doesn't have enough charge, it can't provide the electrical power needed to turn the starter motor. Corroded connections are another frequent culprit. Corrosion on battery terminals and cables creates resistance, preventing the flow of electricity to the starter motor. A faulty solenoid causes the starter to click without cranking the engine. The solenoid acts as a relay that should engage the starter gear with the flywheel, but when it fails, no mechanical rotation occurs. Worn brushes or armature result in grinding noises when trying to start the vehicle. The brushes and armature are critical components that convert electrical energy to mechanical rotation, and when worn, they can't perform this function properly. Engine-related problems like low compression can also cause starting failure. Even if the starter works perfectly, the engine won't fire if there's insufficient compression in the cylinders to ignite the air-fuel mixture. Start by checking the battery voltage with a multimeter. Connect the multimeter probes to the battery terminals and read the voltage. A healthy battery should show 12.6 volts or higher when the engine is off. Next, inspect the battery terminals and cables for corrosion. Clean any green or white powdery buildup that you see, as this can prevent proper electrical contact. Turn the ignition key and listen for a clicking sound from the solenoid. If you hear rapid clicking but the engine doesn't crank, the solenoid might be faulty and need replacement. Finally, pay attention to any unusual grinding or whining noises when starting. These sounds typically indicate internal damage to the starter motor's gears or armature that requires professional repair. A multimeter is essential for diagnosing starter motor problems by measuring voltage and checking circuit continuity. First, verify the battery voltage is above 12 volts. A healthy battery provides the power needed for starting. Next, check for circuit continuity and voltage drops in the electrical system. Finally, check the voltage at the starter solenoid when the ignition switch is engaged. If no voltage is present at the solenoid, it indicates a problem with the wiring or ignition switch. A clicking sound without engine cranking usually points to a faulty starter solenoid. The solenoid fails to deliver sufficient electrical current to engage the starter motor, preventing the engine from turning over. The solenoid acts as a high current switch, but when defective, it only produces a clicking noise as it attempts to engage without fully connecting the circuit. To diagnose, gently tap the solenoid with a tool while attempting to start the engine. If the engine then cranks and starts, the solenoid contacts are sticking and require replacement. In the electrical circuit, current flows from the battery through the solenoid to the starter motor. A faulty solenoid interrupts this flow, causing the clicking symptom. If you've checked the basics like battery, connections, and solenoid, and the starter still doesn't work, it's time to consult a mechanic. Internal starter motor issues, such as worn brushes or damaged armature, require professional tools and expertise to diagnose and repair properly.